The universe is submerged in dark waters, its inhabitants struggling to thrive within the caverns and hollows of immense floating planetoids, or else within the heavy metal shells of these strange vessels which travel between them. Here, the fathomless, luminous void ejects light and water into existence, all things tracing discrete paths around this great rift. But it has been dimming over the past century, and the cultures of the celestial deep grow ever more panicked by the coming of the bitter dark. In these latter days, the great leviathans, crucial to the production and refinement of slow brine, a substance without which interplanetary travel would be all but impossible, grow restive, ill-tempered, and unpredictable, throwing the cycles and harmonies of life into disarray. Though long locked in an uneasy and dangerous balance with mortal folk, of late their vast alien dynasties have begun to turn away from worldly affairs, seeking solace in the labyrinthine megastructures of the liquid cores, which form their moon-sized minds. Driven by growing populations, spreading unrest, and dwindling resources, crews of bold or desperate marinauts dive further out into the celestial deep than ever before, piloting their vessels in all directions, seeking new sources of food, materials, alliances, leviathans, planetoids, and most of all, the light of hope. The core word pact, once grown fat on the bounties of the luminous void, now anemic and waning, press the outer treaty worlds for increased tithes, though by doing so, bend the currents of the deep towards the inevitable conflict already referred to by some scholars as the Great Drowning. Though conventional wisdom has long acknowledged the primacy and power of the core word pacts over the more fractious and less advanced outer treaty worlds, freebooter state ships, and the strange folk of the far deeps, recent discoveries have changed that calculus dramatically. In the darkness, far beyond the fading radiance of the luminous void, the secretive synod of marinographers has courted the attention of the long-forgotten outlier stations, venerable antediluvian artifacts from the unrecorded history of the celestial deep, and it is rumored that they are on a course to return and collect on ancient debts yet unpaid. In recent times, refugees of the state ship Noramor Flows have shared with the influential Treaty World Core Reef the secret the freebooters have concealed for untold ages, the extraction of petrichor, the blood of the rock, and how to use it to fuel industry, homes, and the machines of marinauts and military alike. The cosmic order withers, and the desperate masses turn to ever more extreme cults and sects, putting their faith in mud mystics, disciples of the deluge, and cargo hold clerics, hastening an all but inevitable collapse. The celestial deep is cold, and it is vast. It teeters on the precipice of collapse. The pressures beneath those crushing waters are mounting. Time only will tell if it drowns in total darkness or basks in light refulgent.
Welcome to Mythtakes Happen, the world's finest world-building podcast. I'm Chris, a peerless Imagineer.
And I'm Aaron, a fantabulous wondermaker. Each season we create a new TTRPG setting and supplementary materials set in a fantastical world of our own making.
This is Season 2, where we talk about the watery star system of the Celestial Deep. Like, subscribe, and review the podcast, or join our Patreon for exclusive and wondrous rewards.
We are both recording this on the lands of the indigenous people of our great southern continent, and we acknowledge the traditional owners of these places.
And with that, let's get started. Anyway, we'll probably pin this down later, but yes, it's been an interesting day. Came home and a tap was dripping. Now, I want to make this very clear. There was a tap outside and it was dripping. It wasn't doing anything. And my wife said, "Hey, this tap is dripping. Should we fix it?" And I said, "Nah, let's leave it. She said, I think you should really fix it. And then I said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I proceeded to fix it. Anyway, I then tried to obviously turn off the tap, and then that didn't work. So I thought to myself, oh, I can just turn off all the water. And when I do that, I can then swap the tap. That's not very difficult. I can do that. But then the water valve was not turning off any of the water. And I thought to myself, am I stupid? The answer to this is yes, I am actually, but no, it just wasn't working. So then I thought, okay, let's play with this tap a little more. I made some water come out of it, and I thought, because sometimes like you turn it on and then you turn it off, and it can turn off just like a tiny little bit more sometimes. That happens. That's a real thing.
It is.
Plumbers in the audience, please, leave some comments about how that's a real thing. And then what happened was it just it wouldn't stop. It wouldn't turn off at all. So it just started going, and then there was an uh-oh moment where I was like, okay, well, this looks like a plumber's job. So I made a plumber come here and fix it. And that cost me actually $3,400. And that's why I'm late for this. This is actually not very funny content, to be honest. I'll probably wipe a lot of it.
Yeah. Most of it, I figure, will go. But honestly, the fact that you've got too much water on a day when we plan on
too much water
discussing a watery universe just seems too good to not record about.
So let's get right into it, really, because what I'm thinking is that we introduce this as a wet podcast. What do you think?
Yep, no,
this is a wet podcast,
yes.
moist quest. Would you say
moist quest?
Yeah,
because everybody loves the word moist, and then we just put quest on it.
I think some people say they don't like the word moist, but I think they're just jumping on the bandwagon. I don't think there's actually anything wrong with it. I think it's a perfectly cromulent word.
No, we're not doing Simpsons.
Come on. It's the Simpsons. And that's a real word because it's in the dictionary now. So you have to acknowledge it.
The dictionary now says literally also means not literally.
Which it does. Language evolves, Aaron.
Yes, it does. And I love language evolution. I just don't like language de-evolution.
Oh, it's always a forward motion. Look. Today we are going to, this is kind of a setup episode, much like our setup episode for Haliacon. We're done with Haliacon. Go straight to hell. That was our season 1. This is our season 2. And we're talking about a place called the Celestial Deep. And we came to this place through, I think, an interesting process, but I want to talk about that process a little bit as well. What do you have to say about it, Aaron?
I'm looking forward to doing something different.
Yeah, it's different. It's not a fantasy world that we are going to forge and create here. It's more of a science fiction world. But
although exactly what the dials are on that, is one of our questions.
It's one of the questions that we're going to discuss today. We did a lot more of a setup here than we did for Haliacon, I think, in terms of what we already know about the setting.
Although in the spirit of Mythtakes Happen, we did it back and forth, one sentence at a time each, and just expanded on and grew the setting collaboratively.
So each of us did 5 sentences. So it's 10 altogether.
Yeah, that's almost a little misleading because when we say sentences, each sentence is almost a paragraph.
It does go on, and you probably have heard the intro at the start of this episode.
Yes,
that's what we're doing. That's what it's going to be all about.
Yeah,
a wet universe. My idea initially, how we came to it was, I just said space, but underwater.
Which it still is the basic concept of what we're doing.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good concept. I remembered actually that I know that Aaron, even though he is a podcaster, is not very active in the podcast space. But one of the most famous Dungeons and Dragons podcasters, the Adventure Zone, which I'm sure you've heard of,
yes.
Actually did a one of their seasons was called Ether Sea. And Ether Sea was about a fantasy world that became flooded. And then a lot of their adventures, well, all of their adventures were obviously by necessity underwater. I don't think I was actually thinking, it was a pretty good one, actually. I don't think I was consciously thinking about that one, because it's quite a different setup in cosmology, I think. It's not a world that was flooded. It's simply a universe where instead of space, there's water.
There's water. How does that even bloody work? That'd be really interesting to find out.
Why? And, so that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. Do you want to get into the questions, or?
I think so. I think we've milked this as much as we can.
We've milked it. We've got the cow, and it's dry now. It's a husk.
Mm-hmm. Not wet or soggy at all.
Not a soggy cow, no, because we've extracted its moisture
and put it into our universe.
Okay, so our first question, I think, was, what is our narrative focus, right? Was that our first question? One
Yes.
world or many? What were you thinking? I'm gonna give this one to you. I've got a bit of an answer, but
as do I. Given in our little narrative back and forth intro that we've already done, we've discussed large groups, like 3 major sort of political type factions, but more pointedly, the idea of marinauts was laid out, and it seems logical to me that that's the sort of role that the players would get involved in. And since the marinauts are about going out into the ocean and exploring, trading, doing things, whatever we decide what the sort of focus of this universe is, it means going out. So my personal thought is that we don't limit ourselves to a single world, but I do like the idea of having like a home base-esque sort of thing, but rather than limiting ourselves to a single planet. One of the political entities we mentioned was the Outer Treaty Worlds, and I think they're the most interesting for players to start with. So in the same way that like Eberron focuses on the continent of Corvair and
here's the thing, Aaron. Sorry to interrupt you, but here's the thing. Yeah. We actually don't know if those are going to be the most interesting things, because it's quite possible that one of us will spend the first episode talking about how boring the Outer Treaty Worlds are. There's nothing. No one goes there. It's actually no one even talks about them.
It's basically just a bunch of people sitting on their thumbs going, "Yeah, man, it's cool."
Yeah, I see what you mean, because it's like in my mind that already sounds like a bit of a frontier area, right? Like if you're talking about things like the Expanse, for example, right? To talk about like a sci-fi show, there's always these wild areas where bit lawless, a little bit, that's where the adventure happens, on the periphery of things. Yeah. I think they even call it the periphery in the Expanse.
What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, similarly, look, I was initially of 2 minds about it. Focusing on a world and like perhaps its relations to other worlds, it's probably a good way of giving players something to care about. But where we go with that, we'll see where we go with that, obviously. We'll make those links during the episodes, right? At the same time, I'm looking at this as a bit of a Star Wars-y kind of setting, right?
Yeah.
Like, in terms of like, I think the best way probably is to see what comes out of our episode 1, which we have not recorded yet, and see. My mind's sort of full of ideas for either possibility, but creatively, I think my interest lives primarily in those broad strokes ideas that paint an interesting picture. So I think we can do a deep dive into a world or a place here and there, but then if we have a variety of places for players to go, that's kind of what we want, right? Like that's what a space setting is.
I think you're right that travel and going to different new and interesting places is part of a space science fiction setting somewhat inherently.
Yeah. So, I mean, you sort of answered a little bit of the second question, which was is there a default adventure type, or do players do? So,
yes.
Like, despite what we're talking about here is we're talking about a sci-fi setting where the premise of it being underwater is kind of set dressing, right? Like it's set dressing. It's interesting, and then like it'll have its own problems and it'll have its own
solutions
to those problems, but it's set dressing. So you want players, I think in my head, I would probably want players to be members of like ship crews or things like that, right? Or at least end up on vessels where they can travel from place to place.
The general idea is that they would be marinauts.
Marinauts, yeah.
And they would go off and they would do important things. Everything from your sort of exploration into the bitter dark, I think we called it.
Maybe the bitter dark. Yeah, that sounds good.
So that. Traveling between planets.
And we'll
doing
talk about
things
like
with kaiju.
How does that work? Like what is any of it? Like, yeah. So if you can imagine like a crew of like Firefly mercenaries or bounty hunters, freelancers, soldiers, military personnel, science crews, like in any of those, if you can imagine it being on a ship that's going out to do something, that's great. So like maybe some in-universe idea of like problem solver, right? I think freelancer probably is that kind of catch-all term.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like I think we can, and we'll be able to do this during the episode, but we can talk about what does it mean to be a marinaut. Like, in your like classic JRPG like anime stuff, the idea that there's you're an adventurer, but that means you do everything from like cleaning a house and finding a lost pet through to defeating huge dragons. That marinaut is this catch-all term for people who go out into the celestial deeps and do things. Everything from take this package to this other planet through to fly up a kaiju's. No, I don't want to finish that sentence now.
Episode 1's going to be so great. But yeah, like I'm imagining default adventure type would be a fetch quest that goes wrong, right? Like you're doing something bad happens. How do you deal with that? Which is I think a lot of science fiction. It doesn't mean that's the only place where we can go, obviously, but I think as a setup, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say that the standard adventure type would be accept your mission on a planet, get in your deep boat, whatever we're calling them. You go out into the ocean, you deal with issues in transit, you go to a place, you deal with more issues, whether it's an abandoned, maybe it's a resource mining, you go out of your ship to find a thing, and then you return back. That would be sort of the classic adventure.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's what I was imagining as well. So that feels good to me.
Well, our next question is what we sort of mentioned right at the top of this is, yes, the setting is science fiction, but is it more fantasy, sci-fantasy, hard sci-fi? What's our genre here?
I was thinking more science fiction than fantasy, but I'd probably put it in the sci-fantasy genre for scope. Like I'm thinking of science fiction tropes specifically and terminology, but with room for like a little bit of mumbo jumbo, if that makes sense. I'm thinking like more Star Wars than The Expanse, right? But with scope for the kinds of stories that go across that spectrum.
Do you know what? It's funny. I was thinking about this and I agree with you 100%. I want it to be more science fiction, but particularly in sort of mechanics, I suppose. But playing with some of these sort of fantasy ideas. And as I was trying to think, like, what sort of narrative am I latching onto? And you know what the two things that that jumped out at me were the novel Rama.
Oh, yes. Rama.
And the anime Outlaw Star, which...
Okay, everybody should see this anime. Guys, if you are anime heads, anime used to be good. And it's actually, some of it is still good. So, I know a lot of young people, they say anime is cringe, but I would say it's actually quite based.
Yes. No, but seriously, I think you can probably still find most of Outlaw Star on the YouTubes for the freeze. It is generally great, but it's got these interesting ideas about, spaceships, but they're grappling, they've got guns, but they've sort of got arcane bullets. It's a science fiction setting, but it's got all these little sort of fantasy elements. Woven through it.
Let me tell you something, because I've got something I don't want. Like, I don't want magic here. Like,
agreed.
But what I mean by that, right? I don't want magic here. I don't want to see magic in the setting. I want solutions to be primarily technological within the sort of framework that we cook up here. But that doesn't mean it can't stray into that realm, right? Like, I know psionics is always controversial, for example, but that has a bit of a space in space in science fiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
There can be things that are like sufficiently advanced technology, for example, right? Like that, those are things that I'm okay with. Like, I don't want to be talking about projecting into a dreamscape, but I am open about talking about like uploading into the oneirospheric matrix module, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would like to keep things, for lack of a better term, like materials based. So yes, here is this thing that shoots a lightning bolt. Okay, yes, we can theoretically do that with technology, but this is a bit more bits pieces. But you manage that because you've got a special magnetite crystalline in a gun caster type thing. Yes, you've got somebody who's able to calculate the incredibly complex navigation stuff required, but that's because they've been genetically engineered or spliced with a super monkey or something.
Ooh,
sort of Wing
super
Commander-esque.
monkey. Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys.
Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys.
What a good show.
Again, that's going to confuse several generations of people. Frankly, most people our age don't even know that one. But seriously recommended. Find it. It's great. Amazing voice actors. Great cast.
Amazing voice actors. Great cast. A lot of really good like action shots in that cartoon.
Yeah. And they riff from only the best science fiction and occasionally beyond that, their genres.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, makes sense.
All right. So apparently we're going to do Star Wars by way of Rama, by way of Outlaw Star, by way of Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. I'm still on board.
Brilliant. Well, I think, because we're each bringing our own thing, right, into it, I think it's going to be an interesting blend. I think we will have in this season more things to push back against, because I think it is a much broader sort of universe that we are crafting here, which means that although there is space for things, we also want to want the feel of it to be consistent, which I think, and cohesive, which I think can be difficult in a setting with like so many places to go.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think also because we have established in the narrowest way, we've sort of just described, just named them, sort of things. Like in that intro, we mentioned Slurbrine and Petrichor and the Outer Treaty Planets. These are all going to be things that presumably you and I are going to want to explore in our episodes. And it's not going to shock me if we have different ideas and we're going to have to actually go to war a bit more this season.
That's it.
And I'm looking forward to that.
I think that's going to be very interesting. Yeah. So I will tell you that I have so many ideas for this that from our intro that we created bit by bit, and I have been just writing endless pages about stuff. This is another case of like a lot of it is going to be unusable, but I feel like I'm in this kind of like creative mode for this setting now, where I think it's going to be great, because I 100% feel that episode 1, just our conversations that we're going to have, will no doubt invalidate 80% what I've already gotten down, which is fine. It worked like that a little bit with Heliacon, but that's something I'm looking forward to, because it will help me sort of like distill those ideas a lot better, I think.
I confess my ideas are not on paper or digital page yet, but a lot of my long walks have been putting these ideas together. Yes, very much looking forward to discussion with you. But let's move on to our next question.
Question. Yes, the next question is, what is the feel of it? Grimdark, hope punk, or something else? What do you think, Aaron?
I want hope. Hope punk was, if that's a thing, you read it.
Hope punk is
writ it. He writ it in the question.
I writted it.
Yep.
Used my fingies.
With your fingies, yes. And I'm not sure it's a term I've ever used myself, but if by hope punk you mean the situation, the circumstances are dire, but there is a real hope, and that hope is in the hands of our heroes, our players, whatever they are. That is kind of always been my jam.
I like very bleak kind of grimdark settings where nothing can ever be improved. With this one, I'm in a different sort of mode, in a different mindset for this one. So I think we have already established that this setting does have some existential problems just from the get-go, right? What I want is a lot of scope to fix those problems. I want it to feel less like Warhammer when it is written, but more Warhammer when it is role-played, if that makes sense, right?
Yes.
If that's a good comparison. So like for anyone listening who doesn't know that, Warhammer is the original grimdark universe where nothing can ever be good or happy, and things kind of stack on top of each other, and things are always bad, and you can never succeed. But role-playing in something like that is not, it will be quite depressing and really quite pointless, right? So when it's played, it tends to be at its best kind of dark humor with scope to actually push back against that darkness with a very human kind of, like you put the human face on it. You're in a universe of essentially just monsters. That's what I want.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I think so. We're on the same page then.
Yeah.
Terribly grim circumstances. We can really lay it on thick when it comes to the situation being awful, but the people in it aren't awful, that there is a way out.
The people in it are people. So I want the same kind of people that we have in the real world, I guess, which is a vast spectrum of.
But that's not a necessity. I'm thinking even the main characters, they always seem to make the worst mistakes at the worst possible time, and every time.
Sean Williams,
no, but also
is it a Sean.
No, this is going to be driving me crazy, and I wish I hadn't mentioned it.
That's okay, don't worry. Let's go to the next one.
So, where is our conflict in the setting? Political, military, religious, cultural, environmental. Although, admittedly, we kind of definitely wrote in environmental.
I think we definitely wrote in environmental, yeah. Like, I guess resource scarcity would be a big problem. Also, you're only, as far as we have so far established, light source fading over time. That's bad.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if that was happening to the sun.
We've also seeded in a little bit of tension between the core worlds and the outer treaty planets.
That's right, yeah. And also, I think we mentioned various like apocalyptic religions and cults. So I think there's a bit of a mixed bag of things that could be a conflict. I don't know if we're talking about, is there a central conflict? Maybe that's something that we find out later.
Well, that is kind of what I wanted to touch on. So the three elements, and admittedly this is a little bit embarrassing because I spent a fair bit of time writing the answers to these questions, but it's only whilst talking with you that this notion occurred to me. So the three sort of broad groups of people, we have the Corwood packs, the outer treaty planets, and there was the people you just mentioned that were threatening to come in.
What are they called? The outlier stations?
Yes, that's it. Now, we've got this problem that the universe is sort of moving towards entropy, that it is fading, literally fading. We've got these outlier stations, which are these ancient things that are coming in, and it feels to me like there's this entropy from there. You've got these Corwood planets who are like, nope, everything stays the same. Our quality of life can't adjust, though they're asking for more tithes from the outer treaty planets.
That is so topical too.
A little bit, yes.
We are so topical.
Totally topical. All the best science fiction is about today. So they're sort of this staticness, things wanting to stay the same, but we've already kind of focused that our hero group is the outer treaty planets, and maybe to a lesser degree the freebooters, who are the dynamic ones. They're, as you say, they're on the periphery. They're already used to a situation and a way of life that is more in flux, dynamic, and having to adapt to new circumstances. So perhaps our central conflict is between sort of existential entropy and these like ancient things coming back to just wipe us all out.
Now, hold on. We don't know if they're going to wipe us all out. We haven't discussed this. Let's see.
I think we hint.
We hinted it, but like, let's see where these goes. But I see your point. Yeah, I think that's a very good sort of square to start in for sure.
Triangle.
That's a good triangle to start in.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Okay, brilliant. I don't have a good answer for the next one, which is tech level question mark.
Right.
I was thinking, because I don't understand technology, so I'm going to put it right out there. I don't know how electricity works, and I don't want to find out. I'm essentially a medieval peasant in terms of how the world works. I used to work in IT. Anyway. I was thinking like the low end of Star Wars tech. Everything is aesthetically, I'd love for everything to look analog, but also kind of bafflingly advanced. Like you and I don't know how to. Well, I don't know how to do anything. I know that you probably know where the lightning wizards come from inside the plug.
I do know a fair bit about the modern combustion engine thanks to a really fantastic series of articles and sort of mini games in the old Encarta encyclopedia CDs.
Oh, I love Encarta. This is another unrelatable thing to younger people. Encarta was like Wikipedia, but it was on a CD.
Yeah, on physical fucking media.
Yes.
With little mini games and stuff, including a like wander around. Anyway, point being is that I've also never literally touched a modern combustion or any combustion engine subscription, given that I don't own a vehicle or a license. So
that's on account of you being Amish.
I've got arms, yes.
That's funny.
I'm also leggish and occasionally headish.
Are you leggy?
No, that's leggy is sort of sexy-ish, and I don't think there's anything about this sexy.
I mean, not to me, but to someone, I could say
tech level.
I just want to make it very clear, I'm not a homosexual man. Please don't put me in the homosexual jails that are coming.
I like your idea that yes, the analog side of the Star Wars side, where that scene with Han and Leia in the little tiny booth, and they're pulling things around. There's also, I think, a little bit of the Alien movie.
Yes. That kind of 1970s, lots of buttons.
But I think with more iron and metal, so you have something that's a bit more World War II submarine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whenever I think of the aesthetics currently for the Celestial Deep, like submarines, I'm thinking World War II submarines first and foremost.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah, because I suppose we're talking tech level. This is a bananas question because there's no real analog. The tech level is whatever we say it is, but yeah, aesthetically, that's what it looks like.
Well, I mean, it does restrict us when we do say analogish Star Wars-ish, alien-esque, World War II U-boats. We're not going to be doing a lot of miniaturization, nano machines and other bits and pieces.
Correct.
Touch screens, not a thing. That does genuinely, technology isn't particularly portable in our setting.
Yes. That's right. Yeah. I see that. I don't want everyone walking around with cell phones.
Yeah, which we call them cell phones, but they're basically a supercomputer communicator. Right. Next question. This is genuinely interesting in our setting. The source of energy and heat.
Yeah, I don't even know if that needs to be a question. But I don't know, luminous void, I would say. It's the big
this was
void.
the question. Yeah, this
was before we actually, did the write-up.
And then we, in that write-up, we also mentioned slur brine and petrichor.
Yeah. And
that slur brine comes from kaiju.
It comes from leviathans. We don't know that leviathans are kaiju.
Yeah, true.
Well, we do know that they are large and have moon-sized minds, so maybe, yeah.
I think that sort of kaiju by any other word is still a giant thing.
Okay, I think that's it.
Cool. That was a boring question. Okay. This one's more interesting.
This one is: are we going to have a TTRPG system as a framework?
Yeah,
I think we should.
We probably should. And it's a really interesting question that I am definitely not prepared for.
Okay, the thing that's always sitting in my head, and I realize that it's not in yours, is a different system than what you would say. I like percentile systems. I think we should go with a percentile system for this. Percentages are science fiction-y because...
Oh, wait, no, that's not percentile anymore. Yeah.
No, listen. Sci-fi, science fiction, right, feels like something where percentages work. Unlike in real life, where Target has to have special signs that tell people how percentages work. how much money they have to pay for sales. So that's...
Was there a particular percentile system that you wanted to use?
I'd probably use BRP from Chaosium, basic role playing. It's what POW's Call of Cthulhu. It's a very straightforward system, I think, and I think it's very modular as well, in terms of like all those skills can be simply renamed, and it's a very easy system. And if you strip out stuff that is Call of Cthulhu specific, like madness and stuff like that, it's a very workable system that I would give a thumbs up. But I know you're not a fan of percentile systems.
It's true. I'm not. I find them both too granular and not granular enough simultaneously.
Because the other the other options, because we're always talking about different games, right? Like we're talking about, we've got 5th edition D&D, right? That's the big one that everyone
really didn't
knows.
want to use that again.
I didn't want to use this one again. Then we have some ones like Genesis and stuff with weird dice, which I don't want to use because they've got proprietary dice, and that is less accessible to people.
Agreed. It's on my list.
It's on my list as well. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love this stuff, but I want something where ideally someone could download a free rule book and then use this game. The other option is to make our own game, which is beyond the scope, I think, of this podcast and beyond the resources that we have.
Yes. Maybe if we manage to get this off the ground and we're both now full-time myth takers, we would do that.
If I was a full-time podcaster like my hero Alex Jones, I would definitely I would definitely create an RPG about where you can play a gay frog.
Right. Well, I do have other suggestions outside of Genesis.
Go ahead. Come on.
So the one that I will throw out there, but I don't actually want to use, but I want to talk about it anyway because maybe you'll convince me, is GURPS. I'm
not going to convince you. GURPS is shit. GURPS sucks, and people who like GURPS are essentially masochists, sadomasochists.
I have a big soft spot for GURPS, but I've also never run it or play it. I really enjoy reading the books. I think there is a good system in there, but I've never sat down and made a world or wanted to play a setting and had GURPS be the top of my list of systems to want to use.
If I have a NATO-style veto, I am using it right now.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Only because let me tell you, my experience with GURPS was that the character creation was annoying, and then we played in a game where nothing happened for so long, and I don't know why, but it wasn't like the GM's fault, and it wasn't like the player's fault. I don't even know if it was GURPS' fault. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and it sounds like something that comes out of you. GURPS.
Well,
I've got
my other two suggestions, which I must admit I am personally a lot more enthusiastic about, is Fate.
Yeah.
Which is, nice and rules light, or adapting the 2D20 system, which currently the book I own is Fallout, but there's also the Star Trek settings also set using that.
I would go for Fate. I'd go for Fate out of those because I think, Fate is more of a story game type thing. You can download it for free, which is great. And I think there's more of a community around that system as well. Yep. Yeah, let's do Fate.
Yeah, there was one really out there question. It didn't even pull the book out, even though I do have it. It's actually
behind you.
A pile.
Blades in the Dark. Oh yeah, okay. So like Powered by the Apocalypse style. Well, perhaps let's just give it 2 weeks of thought, and have it between Fate and
Powered by the Apocalypse.
Powered by the Apocalypse. Is there a generic document that you can download for Powered by the Apocalypse?
I don't know.
Let's find out later.
Yep.
Not today.
Yes.
Not right now.
Right.
I mean, maybe today. Perhaps after this recording.
We've got a real fun one this time. This was going to be our last question, but and it was just supposed to be a bit fun and goofy. But we got 2 audience questions, which we're thrilled about. Or at least I'm thrilled about.
We do.
Chris doesn't really do thrilled.
I don't do thrilled. Why would people ask us questions at all? Do you want to do the questions first, or do you want to do the fun thing first?
Maybe we should put the fun thing to the end. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, all right. Make them wait.
Make them wait for the fun.
Yeah.
All right, our first audience question, though.
Okay, our first audience question is was actually sent by Grogux. Grogux.
Oh, well, thank you,
It's like-
Grog.
It's Grogu, but then with 2 extra U's and an X, which is, the question is, why a podcast?
Yeah. Why a podcast? I mean, I know my answer to that.
Well, what's your
'Cause,
answer?
frankly, my and yours singing and dancing skills weren't good enough for a musical.
Is this like you have a face for radio type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. My answer is that I actually wrote down stuff for this one. So my answer is that I like podcasts. I didn't have to write this part down, but like, they're like radio, but not for 80-year-olds. I think the great advantage of them is that they allow an audience to locate niche topics like ours and see if they like them. And they are, in some ways, a great leveler like death, because they are accessible to anyone and anyone can try and do a better job, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I mentioned before, Alex Jones or Charlie Kirk, they can have shows which attract millions of listeners where they can obfuscate.
Despite being like objectively awful.
They can obfuscate things, lies, and present them as truth. Whereas here, we are very upfront about our lies.
Yes.
Everything we build here is made up. The audience,
Yeah.
you know, like the audience for discussing this stuff, like the creative processes and all this stuff, is a much smaller one, unfortunately. I look. Also, I listen to a lot of these things. I'm learning. I'm learning things from podcasts. I'm entertained by them, and now I'm making them. So it also feels like I'm part of a community, a creative community of people who are doing this. That's something that I think is interesting. I love hearing the sound of my own voice, so I'm also listening to my own podcast, which is great. Yeah,
it's probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
The thing is, as our listeners have probably already worked out, Chris and I talk a lot, like in general and with each other.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's in some ways a podcast was a sort of natural evolution. The fact that we've got any structure at all is more to stop us from just rambling forever.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it was like the idea that we would record our conversations and then see if other people are vaguely interested in it is not a particularly big step.
No. And like most white middle-aged guys, we had this idea of like, should we have a podcast? Yeah, absolutely, because we're white middle-aged guys, and this is what we have to offer the world, our presence. And nothing beyond that.
Our confident mediocrity.
I'm a Polish man, so there's a little bit of diversity here. That's right. This is a DEI hire. I hired myself.
Yep.
You know, and my wife is Chinese, so, you know, I think I'm a little bit inscrutable.
I don't have any of those things.
No. So you're the baseline.
Oh, right.
I'm the
cool.
spice.
Yeah, that tracks. Also, there wasn't really much else out there in the podcast space for what we're doing.
And looking at our audience numbers, that's for a good reason.
Yep. Yeah, you know.
I think it's a niche. I think it's going to definitely pick up. And with season 2, I think we'll finally be able to advertise, hey, there's a season of this stuff, guys. You can binge listen to this right now, and some of it is even good.
Our next audience question
is, what is the long-term goal of this project? Which is a very cool question by a string of numbers man or woman 1875220 Limmy1,
right,
or Limmy for short.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks
1875220 Limmy1. Limmy.
Good question. Really good question.
That is a good... I like this question because this is a professional question.
Oh, yeah.
This is a question that I feel like, why a podcast? It's a little bit judgy, you know? So, honestly, go to hell, Grogooks. This one, Limmy, thank you. Do you have an answer to this one? I
do. My own personal answer, anyway.
Go.
I'm a pedagogue. By nature.
Sorry, can you? You're a what? Sorry,
a pedagogue.
Oh, great! This is going to be great to edit later. No reason.
And as somebody who enjoys educating and discussing and so forth, as a pedagogue, the idea of taking something that I'm literally a professional at, but have been doing for a very long time, and the idea of helping other people. Everybody is capable of creating, I don't know if everybody's capable of or desires creating an entire setting, but I do think those people are out there, and I'd love for them to do it. Just the idea that one other world, one other setting is being made because you and I have been there to help them do so, give them the confidence, give them a dire warning of what not to do, whatever it is just great.
It's fantastic, yeah. I think we said this in season 1. I strongly believe that creativity is a human birthright, This is something...
what humans are for.
It's what we're for. I don't know. Look, I wrote a little bit too, so I'm going to read some of it. So to answer this question is, over the course of the next several years, I would like to have setting material that we can expand upon in the TTRPG space, not necessarily just in a podcast. I don't know what the shelf life of this podcast is. I have no idea. I don't know whether we're going to be doing it in 6 or 7 years' time, right? And it's not infinite in the sense that is a bit of a money drain, right? Having this ability to very easily record things costs a little bit of money, to host things and have them all go out to the various things on RSS costs a little bit of money. But I guess the long-term scope for this is to find out what works and what doesn't, and then to create a product that you and I can be proud of, and we can show people and say, hey, we did this. This is something that we did. Each season gives us enormous amounts of information. Like right now, we are in, what month is it? September of 2025. We have finished recording all of our episodes. So we are nearing the end of season 1 in the reality that we're living in. So I understand what we have produced, but now I'm trying to wrap my head around how we will use that in a practical sense as well. Gaming, obviously. What that will look like, I don't know. So we're creating a setting document. Every episode, every mainline episode has a link to a setting document of what we talked about, plus lots of other additional things. Aaron is putting that together. It is really, really good. And he's going to have to also put this in a different format in the future so that we can put it as a pay what you want, download for free, or as a physical as a physical collection via a service like Lulu, for example, or Drive-Thru RPG or something like that. For me, I'm not interested in the idea of like self-publishing. That still leaves a bad taste in my mouth for various reasons. But in the TTRPG space, I think there's a lot of value for all this stuff that we've created. I'm certainly going to get a physical copy of it so that we can look through it. And Aaron, I'm sure will as well, as a reference for when we get back into Heliacon, which we will, I think.
Yeah.
So
honestly, we have to. I still have, there's a whole section of my brain I've had to cordon off, just put to one side.
Exactly. And I don't know whether that's going to be a season 3, whether that's going to be something else. We'll see how this works and what that feels like to us in the near future. So I've always seen this as an avenue to do something creative in my life when my job is very boring. Long term, I'd love to be producing this, doing more of this, making, RPG material, fiction that captures people's imaginations in a space where, like, I want this to exist in a space that can be thought of as collaborative, Aaron, not just with you, but with others as well. So I was delighted to have Leo on the show, but I also want to have more people, more Leos.
You and I, between us, know a lot of creative humans, and that's outside even of our audience. A question that isn't asked here, but is sort of somewhat implied, is how we want to evolve this. And one of the things I'd like to do is, yes, I agree 100%, have some more guests on, and I would like to do some more interaction with our audience.
More interaction with our audience would be great. Our audience is small, but it will grow. I've never felt the need to interact with a podcast that I listen to. So that, I imagine that is also how a lot of people feel, like they consume this media while not interacting with it. I think creative people are already doing things creatively in general, but people who are curious about creativity, I think, are worried about stepping into that space or not so sure where to go from there.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way. How about we go on to our and finish off this already very long chat about our last fun question?
Okay, our last fun question. Yeah. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, all right. Yes, I'm. What are your top 3 favorite water-based movies?
Did you say water? Did you say
Water-based.
No. Did you say water? Your top 3 water-based movies.
What are your top 3 favorite water movies?
I'm going to start. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Number 3, Master and Commander: Far Side of the World.
Oh, with Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe. And
Yes.
I remember a bunch of stuff vividly. I remember there's the HMS Surprise, and that it has to capture or drown a French privateer ship.
Mhm.
I remember there's a lot of surgery in it, like a naval combat. And I think it's just a really, really cool movie with some good acting.
Right. Yes. No, I have seen it, and it was good. And I'm reliably told that it is actually historically very, very true to real history.
That's what I heard. Yeah, it's partly why I like it so much. What's yours?
All right. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I've got 2 here in the 3 spot, but realistically, they are just the flip side of the same coin, even if it's not immediately obvious.
Oh, Jaws and The Meg.
No. Although similar, very similar
Okay.
to that in sort of theme. So my 2 sort of flip sides are Hunt for the Red October and Down Periscope.
Okay. I was going to have Hunt for Red October on there, but yeah. There's so
Do you
many
know
good
Down
movies.
Periscope?
Yes, I do. Yes. It's very funny.
They're basically the same movie.
Basically the same movie, yeah.
Just different genre. One's drama and the other one is not.
Like Jurassic Park and Chicken Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's real. Okay, number 2.
Jeez, number 2. What's your number 2, Chris?
My number 2, obviously, Finding Nemo.
Oh.
It's about bad parenting leads to a child almost dying numerous times until an Alzheimer's patient helps.
Yep. No, great movie. Didn't even occur to me, but you're right. Very well.
And it also mostly takes place underwater, which is great.
Yeah, and it's got a whole Australian angle, which definitely appeals to us.
Yeah. And it's got those seagulls, and they're all like
the horrifying seagulls.
Mine.
Yes, that's really straight
good.
out of Hitchcock. Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
just a great movie.
My number 2 is, again, I'm just cheating because I'm just cheating left, right, and center. It is the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you know the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise did not even occur to me in this water-based movies? I really should have thought about this harder. Yeah. Can I change Finding Nemo to Pirates of the Caribbean? Captain Jack Sparrow is so good and handsome.
I love all of them. Even the really bad ones are still so, I don't know, bonkers that they're just fun.
Even the bad ones are good.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. All right, number 1. Who is number 1 favorite water-based movie for Chris?
Okay, if this is not the same as your number 1, I'm going to be upset.
Do you want to perhaps like try and say it at the same time?
Okay, like on 3?
On 3.
1,
2, 3.
Waterworld. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Waterworld.
Yeah.
A mutant played by Kevin Costner. Is that a spoiler?
I don't think so. If you
Not
haven't
anymore.
already watched it, then
Kevin Costner is a disgusting mutant, and he helps some pure-blooded humans find land. Best post-apocalyptic water-based movie.
Might be the only one, but definitely the best. Dennis Hopper's villain is just so wild and over the top. I adore it.
It's literally, they looked at Mad Max, and then they said, we want to make this, but wet.
Yep, that is 100% what it is.
That's essentially it.
Specifically Mad Max 2.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Yes. And it was not a well-regarded movie. It's still not a very well-regarded movie, which blows my mind. It's such a good movie. It's so fun.
Yes.
There's nothing about it that is bad. There's nothing about it that's bad. It's a good. It's not the perfect movie, but it's a very good movie.
It's got amazing props, amazing sets, practical effects, left, right, and center. The story is simple, but that's okay because it is a vehicle for some perfectly workmanlike acting with a few moments that are actually genuinely really great. Some really amazing bits of comedy in the middle, in bits and pieces here and there, whilst also having plenty of drama. And then you just got this crazy awesome shit going on.
Yeah, and it's all on water or underwater. Mostly on water. The setting itself is baffling, makes absolutely no sense if you think about it for any more than 5 seconds, but it's great. It's like there's a sense of wonder in there, like especially when he's like diving down and you see these like skyscrapers under the water. It's amazing.
And the way his catamaran sort of like the sails go and it sort of half transforms and he pulls it around. It's so great. It's so really, really well done.
I think Kevin Costner in general is a pretty good actor. Wait, he hasn't... Oh, hold on. Jesus. He hasn't done anything terrible, has he?
Oh, God, yeah.
Kevin Costner. Controversy. Hold on.
I know
a timeline of Kevin Costner's controversies. Uh-oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's 70 years old.
Yes.
Or he was in... Oh no, he's 70 years old this year. Oh, he's been named in a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by a stunt performer who said that she was subjected to perform an impromptu sexual assault scene on the set of Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 2 in 2023. So that was pretty recent. Well, I believe women on this podcast, and therefore Kevin Costner cancelled. And Waterworld can never watch it again. Don't watch it, guys, unless you want to watch a pretty good movie by possibly... a man who sexually assaulted someone. But if you think about it, that's most actors. So really, just watch whatever you want.
Certainly, it's way too many, that's for damn sure. But what I was getting at is there is something that I think the modern cinema world has been missing up until Dune, has been the epic.
Yes.
Like, I'm fine with sitting down and watching a 3.5-4 hour movie. Like, I want to do that, please. And the Kevin Costner...
I can just pause a movie as well. So, like, I don't mind a 3 or 4 hour movie if I have to, like, just pause and go, time for sleep. I'm a middle-aged man who needs a nap. Yeah.
But, I mean, Dances with Wolves, The Postman, Waterworld...
Wasn't Postman another Kevin Costner?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
You know what? Changed my mind. He can do no wrong. You heard it right here, folks, on Mythtakes Happen. Fully exonerated.
Unfortunately, 2 things can be true. Well, I think we might end it there, as we're now well over an hour. We'll be able to cut this down to under it.
Yeah, I'll definitely be able to cut it down to under it.
Look forward to Season 2, The Celestial Deep, soon.
It's going to be amazing and extra wet, which everyone enjoys. Oh, you know, last season we had moist goblins. This season, everything is moist. Yeah. We've squeezed out the moisture out of these goblins.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
If you have made it this far, I just want to say thank you very much for listening to our overly long bonus setup episode. I hope that you enjoyed Season 1, where we explored the partitioned city of Haliacon. And I hope equally that you enjoy Season 2, where we talk about the wet, wet world of the Celestial Deep. As always, there will be information in the episode descriptions if you want a GM, DM, any kind of M in Adelaide. Please go to Aaron's website. If you want to connect with us on social media, you know the kind I mean, then you can also choose to do that following the links in the episode descriptions. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye!